When it comes to commission prices, I have a very simple philosophy. If it's not worth your time, it is not worth doing. It doesn't matter if you never get money for your art or if your commission well has run dry. Like, it doesn't matter. I would never ever ever lower my prices for the sake of getting even a small amount of cash. I will not sell my soul in that way. The reason that I've done this, and it might not work for you, I understand, it's very stressful. But the reason that I've done this is that if I could make way more money or just as much money at McDonald's with like a steady like paycheck, I will do that. It's that simple. And the reason that I say this is because you're not going to be able to build a successful art career underselling yourself. It's sort of that simple. If you have a continual thing in your mind that says you're not worth this amount of money, you're only worth like this shit wage that you're never going to be able to support yourself on, then you're never going to get further. And you're always going to get these people that are looking to scrape the bottom of the barrel and take advantage of you, and just don't do it. If you get this philosophy and this state of mind where you're not worth it as an artist, someone is going to have the money to pay you, and they're going to just take advantage of you because that's the precedent that you have set. That is the philosophy on which that I base my commission prices. And the way that I pick out a commission price is I take all the defaults, I take the sketches, I take the flat colors, I take the inks, I take the illustrations, and I map out like the time frame on it and see how much effort that it takes, and then make kind of an average on that. A high average, not a low average, because I don't want to lose my money. I don't want to lose my time. Time is money. You've probably heard about this. And once I kind of have like the range of like time that is spent on a piece, I then apply my pay rate to it. And I don't really give a shit what it ends up being. If it looks too high, I don't really care. There's marketing gimmicks. You can do the $9.99 or the like rounding things. That's great. That's fine. Whatever. But if it looks too big, I don't really care because I deserve that amount of money. And the fact that if I'm looking at something that's like a $300 sketch, holy shit, like, okay, a $300 sketch sounds like a lot, but I guess, like, it really depends. It depends on your schedule and depends on, like, what your time is actually worth. But if I'm looking at a $300 sketch and I've done all my math right, and my time is worth $300 for that sketch, I'm not going to change that. I can't fudge reality. You can't fudge the fact that you have a really good day job and taking time out of it to do a sketch isn't worth your time. You can't do that, okay? Whatever your rates end up being, they're your rates. How do you choose your rates? There's a multitude of ways that you change your rates. First one would be never go lower than minimum wage, because you can always go out and get a minimum wage job that is stable and way more stable than an art career. And it may sound like it really sucks, but I would much rather work at McDonald's and get a stable paycheck to live than like scrabble around with like $30 commissions and just like hope for the best. But that might just be me. But I would definitely never go under minimum wage because, well, if you're having an unstable career, you might as well be making more than minimum wage to kind of like float you through life a little bit. You gotta have your lifeboat always go higher than minimum wage because you're doing a skilled job. Look at the art market, see what people would be charging for your kind of work, and make sure you are in line with that. Because if you start being like one of those cheapskates, you know, people are gonna take advantage of you. They're gonna look for the cheapskates because they can kind of push a cheapskate around because they know that you're desperate. It is literally just a fact because I've seen many of these people. Like, small anecdote, Ursula was approached by a art company that wanted to do sketchbook drawings, and they wanted to do like $1 per sketch, but it was like a full-time job, but you had to do like 100 sketches an hour. Ridiculous. I said, no, you're not doing that. It's stupid. I don't care. Your art isn't worth that kind of money. Your art is worth like a healthy rate, a healthy chunk of change, you know? There's like these people that will try and take advantage of you, and you really have to have that strong like backbone and that like self-confidence in your skills. Like, don't let them step all over you because they will do it. I've done it. I will see an artist who has a very cheap rate and I will adhere to the cheap rate. Even though in the back of my head I was like, I will pay you hundreds of dollars for this. But if you're charging me 15, I'm going to take it cuz like I would be stupid not to. I don't always have $100 to throw, but like you got to kind of consider that. And not everyone's like me and like would actually throw $100, but like you probably want someone who's going to respect you, and that's sort of the basic rule. Now, there's a lot of things that also might shock you about like having an art job because Ursula now works full time for a good company that actually pays for her to like have a house and food and puppies and things, and also to have like a health plan. Artists can have these things. You gotta believe in yourself. You can't get there by selling yourself short. If she had picked that like random schmo job, she would not be here right now. She would be like selling her soul to the devil or whatever they were planning with her. Okay? And all of that came from the very same principles that she took her commissions with. What you'll learn about these like art job things is that the good ones will pay you to think. Like Ursula is paid to look online and look at different ideas and look at like visual inspiration and start like thinking about like the logos and designs she is creating. This is a standard thing. And when you're taking commissions into consideration, if you are expected to do a lot of research on a commission, make sure like when you're running a tally on like how many hours it takes you to finish a commission, include those things, because in the art world, in a world where artists are respected, you can expect to get paid for that work. And if you're not being paid for that work, there's a problem, because the thinking process of art is also part of the process of art. Maybe it's just me as a writer who like spends most of his time thinking, and then like a fraction of the time is spent on like doing the actual words and stuff. But yeah, you should make sure to tally in everything that remotely concerns working on your project. Like, don't be a dick and like just watch YouTube and charge your like clients, but you can reasonably expect to have some time to think and study. If they're approaching you about drawing their character and they have a very specific armor set and they're just kind of like describing the character, that's going to cost a little bit more money. And if you want to continue having like a flat rate, which is perfectly fine because that's a way easier way to sell it, just make sure to always err on the side of like your most difficult work. Like, what is the most difficult thing that you would allow yourself to draw, and make sure you charge everybody that same rate. It may sound a bit dickish, but you're probably undercharging. You're probably at this point underselling yourself anyways. So like if you typically like have a $30 commission, but occasionally someone slips in a $60 one, like something that's worth like $60 of your time, like screw it, like start charging all of them 60. I mean, it sounds so evil, and I'll be honest, like I don't get a lot of commissions, but I don't really care, because commissions are not like the end all be all. Okay, other things about commissions: always ask for 50% before you start any of the work. I always aim for 50 because I don't want to screw a client over either. Like when you're drafting your contract, yes, I do contracts for even like a $15 commission. Contracts being basically like a set of rules so everyone like is on the same page. Like, this is what's gonna happen. Okay, I agree to that. That's what a contract is. Like, don't worry too much about it. But ask for 50% before you start any work, and the full before you give them whatever rights you're selling, right? If you're working with online commissions, like, make sure they understand what the rights of that commission are, right? Because some people don't understand this little bit of knowledge, and they'll try and like paste your work. How do I explain this? Make sure they know what rights they're getting of your piece. Like, you don't want them to like use like this character that you've drawn for a commercial use. Like, don't okay that. Don't sell a license off. Like, if they're just going to use it as their avatar, good. If they're using it as an avatar of their company, little iffy, because that's like that's your intelligent property, and you should like kind of expect a little more for that, especially if they're going to use it in branding and stuff. And some people, they're super sly and they don't tell you any of this, okay? Like, they're just going to kind of steal your work and not realize that they're stealing it. So make sure that's clear in your contracts. That's why we have a contract, okay? If they're just like, I just want a cute picture of my character so that I can look at them. Great. That's the right. The right is to have that cute picture. The right is to post it up online and give credit to you. You know, those are like the rights that you're kind of like playing with. And they don't get those rights until you get 100% of their cash back. Like, until you are paid in full, you own all the work that you have. If they never pay you in full, you are at full rights to just like post that work and use it however you want. And just kind of knowing this stuff really helps when you are approached by companies, because you can get really scared and not know what to do and easily like step all over your own feet. So if you treat commissions this way, it's just a great way to kind of like level up, smooth into the company like logo design thing, or the company like mascot design, or like animations and stuff. Another thing about commissions is that you need to recognize that like selling yourself short is only a loss for you. Like, when you're giving away a really cheap commission that you know you're not worth, like, you're only damaging yourself. Because if you could spend the amount of time you did drawing a commission for $5 that you could have like designing a button that you could sell for $5 repeatedly over and over and over and over again, see how you've kind of lost money in the transaction. Like, see how it's a waste of your time. That's why I charge commissions so high, because there's so little that you can squeeze out of them. All that being said, like, you know, be honest with like your clients about your prices. Be honest about, like, be nice, be kind. Like, I know I'm sounding a little dickish in all of this, but I just get tired of artists selling themselves short and getting like screwed over. People getting screwed over by artists is also a thing, and that's why contracts exist. Like, if you're someone who asks for commissions, make sure you have a contract in place. Make sure you know what the time frame is on this, like when you're allowed to pull out. Don't pay 100%, especially if a large amount of money for you. If a commission's like $300, like, don't, you're gonna find someone who's like better anyways. Like, okay, like, there are people who have much better practices, and if they don't have any interest in a contract with you, I'd back away, because there's so much about the professionalism that can be respected, and it's a good signal. It's a good sign. And always represent yourself fairly. Like, when you have you see, like, when I'm doing a commission, well, when Ursula's doing a commission, I won't let her go overtime on her hours. Like, if a commission is worth a certain price, that's the amount of time she's going to put into it, because, you know, time is money. So I make sure that all of the commissions on the like posters and designs, they're done within that same amount of time. And if someone wants a correction done, I always make sure like that the cost of a correction is included. So like that amount of time is definitely included in your price, and any like extra corrections need to be stated in your contract. Like, you get like 3 corrections, and then everyone else costs $5, because some people can get you into correction hell. Okay, and if they're not paying you by the hour, not worth your time. And like, as long as you make everything reasonable and clear and no surprises, you're gonna like make people happy. And that's really all there is to it. Because when you start getting approached by bigger clients, and like, if you want a career as an artist, like, you might want to consider all of these bigger clients at like some point in your life. And as you're like approached by different freelance things, if you let yourself get screwed around with like really like finagly like early stage crap, right? Like, where you're selling a $15 commission for $5, like, that doesn't end up sounding like much. But when you're later on in your career and someone approaches you for like an animation project, and you charge them $100 instead of like the $1,500 that they would have given you, then you have a problem. I don't know. So that is my advice for this is my advice for commissions. from someone who really only works with the big freelance stuff. I don't know how to make money as a commissioner, I'll be honest, to be real. All the work that you spend on that illustration, you could be spending on making a print. You could be spending that time on developing yourself as an artist. That is worth more than any exposure, than any pennies they can throw at you. How much money would you sell your soul for? Like, set a number. Make sure you set a goddamn number, kids, and make sure it is a good goddamn number. Find the person, okay, who likes your art the most. That's what Ursula did. It was me. I like her art. I think it's super awesome. Find that person and have them set your prices. Okay? And if they set it really low and they're like dicks to the art community, they're like, I love your art, but like maybe you can't make a curtain. Wrong person, okay? Find someone who thinks you're fucking awesome and have them set your prices. Like, how much would you buy this piece for? And they'll say, like, oh my god, that piece, I would spend like $1,000 on that piece. And he'd be like, oh my god, like I only spent like a day on that. You're like, your day is worth like $1,000, you know? That's what I'm talking about. Find that person. They will set your prices great. And you'll never get any clients, but it'll be great because like the ones you do get, you'll be like blown away. You'll be like, what the hell? Why are you paying me to do this? Like, you'll get to that position. You will be where I am at. You will be in the world of like, oh my god, you're spending way too much money on me. Like, why am I alive? How can I afford a house? Like, I'm an artist. What am I getting away with? You know, you will get away with murder, robbery, whatever you equate art to. You will get away with that if you let yourself. If you do not let yourself get kicked around. Oh my god, I just fucking... Okay? Like, I am passionate about this. Okay? I'm like seriously passionate about this. I hate seeing low art commission rates. Because I'm just like, no, you're worth so much more, boo. You're beautiful. Your art is beautiful, and don't let them fucking screw you around, because they're gonna do it. They will do it. They have more money than you think. Take it from their pockets. Bye.